In this video, we're going to walk through the relationship between the pricing profile and the matrix. Let's enter into System Settings, make our way to the List tab, and then here we have our two pricing options for the profiles and the matrices. Pricing profiles are where we distribute the matrix itself. So if we go into pricing matrix, we have both labor and parts. All the construction that we've put into these does not take effect in a repair order until we move it to a pricing profile rule. So we have to tell TRACS what to do, so to speak. Now, these are the only two tabs in the list section of system settings that impact the behavior of the system. The rest of the behavior, if you will, rules are all handled here in the Preferences tab. So again, if you find yourself in here making changes to pricing matrix and pricing profiles often, you should probably ask yourself whether or not that's a good idea, because it keeps moving the goalpost. Now let's take a look at pricing profile. How do I make a matrix work? Let's look at a default example. We're going to see here that bottom pricing rule. It says any part in the system follows this pricing matrix. Simply put, we uncheck the item type box, we select part, we hit the drop down here for basis, we select matrix, and then we come down and we select the pricing matrix that we desire. So when we save it, it is now active, and that's being used on work orders right away. Now let's talk about labor rules that we need to write for labor matrix. We have a few examples here written. The very most common example would be to uncheck the item type box, select labor, uncheck item, and type in GUIDE for the guide item that is used from the labor guide. Over on the right, again, we're going to pick pricing matrix as the basis. And this time we've got an option here not only to pick the pricing matrix, which must be a labor type, where you see the suffix labor, but we have the opportunity to change the labor rate to any of our affected rates. So once we save it, that labor rule is in effect. Well, you're going to see that there are a few other rules written here. We have flush, diag, and then we have these L question mark rules. The flush and diags have an asterisk. Now, that's because there's more than one part number in the system for flush and for diag. An asterisk is a wild card for any character and any number of them. So I can write one pricing rule and be able to follow through with that. Again, we picked the matrix of labor for menu that matches the flush type, and diag, which matches diag. The only difference being that diag labor rate follows the diag rate, as we saw in those previous drop downs. Now, what are these L question marks? These are for the folks that have moved to labor matrix, but they still want to bump their labor off of a manual figure in your head. So if the book said 3.8 hours, and yesterday, before you used labor matrix, you would have bumped that up to 4.5, an extra 7/10 to compensate the technician, you'd be able to use these shortcut rules. We have a question mark for one character or one number. So this is a dot 9, dot 7, dot 6. This is 1.0 all the way up to 9.9. And this is 10.0 all the way up to 23 hours if you're following a linear style labor matrix. Let's take a look in the repair order at the watershed of pricing profiles, a quick review. When we open up a repair order, the customer is what fills the vehicle, and the vehicle is what fills the work order. Now, what does that look like? When I open a repair order, we have a vehicle here listed and a customer. Let's look at where the hierarchy is. It starts with the customer. Anything that is in the detail tab under pricing profile, that is going to automatically be assigned to every brand new vehicle I create for that customer. We can have more than one pricing profile. Per profile, we could have some vehicles at a different price point than others, but keep in mind, when it's automatically created in the system, it gets this inherited profile. Until we change that and save it, it does not change. Vehicles always get that as the default pricing. So if I created this vehicle brand new, it would say default. I would have to manually come in and select a different option if I had a different pricing plan. What would be an example of that? A roofing company has sales vehicles, four-door sedans. They get one price for standard services, but the pickup trucks that carry the workers and the materials to the site, they get a different price. And maybe even there's a medium duty, heavy duty over the road option to move those products regionally for that roofing company. They get an even different price. You have to manually select each of them in the vehicle edit window. The work order has its own pricing profile. Under the detail tab, pricing profile is what's inherited from the vehicle. It doesn't get it from the customer. This is also the pricing profile that is flexible. If I said, hey, this particular repair order, I want to give this customer a better deal. I want to give them business pricing instead of retail. That's not going to change the pricing profile of the vehicle or the customer. It's just this one particular repair order. We want to thank you for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.